All right, let's talk about something fascinating. We all collect data, we find our themes, but what if there's a deeper story hiding in plain sight? Today, we're moving past just identifying themes, and we're going to start listening to the conversations they're having with each other. This is where the really good stuff is.
And that leads us to a really direct question. Your themes are talking. The real question is, are you listening? Because here's the secret. The most powerful insights often aren't in the themes themselves, but in the space between them.
You know, we're often taught to see our themes like this, right? As these neat, tidy, separate boxes. We find them, we label them, we count them up, and we feel like our job is done. But what if we're looking at it all wrong? What if, instead of static boxes, our themes were actually actors on a stage, each with a role, a motivation, and a relationship to all the other characters?
That one little shift in perspective, well, that's where the magic happens. When we stop just cataloging boxes and start watching the actors, we uncover a story that's so much richer, so much more compelling than any simple list of findings could ever be.
Honestly, the interaction is the story. It's the difference between just reading a cast list in a playbill and actually watching the play unfold right in front of you. It's when we see how these themes connect, influence, and even conflict with each other that the true narrative of our data finally emerges.
So, how exactly do these themes perform together? Well, it turns out there are 5 key ways they tend to interact on this stage. So let's pull back the curtain and watch this performance unfold, one act at a time.
First up, we have concurrent themes. Now, you can think of these like two actors who are just sharing the stage at the same time. They're both part of the scene, part of the same experience, but they aren't necessarily interacting with each other directly.
For example, someone might be talking about a ton of stress in their life and also talking about a lack of support. One doesn't have to cause the other for them to both be true at the same time. They just walk hand in hand, and together they paint a much fuller picture of what that person's going through.
Second, we have embedded themes. This is like a story within a story. It's where one smaller, more specific theme is actually a key component of a much bigger, overarching one. Kind of like a character's personal secret that's driving the main plot forward.
So a student might be talking all about their academic challenges, right? But if you listen closely, you realize that nestled inside that story is a deeper struggle about their identity. The academic challenge is the setting, sure, but the identity struggle, that's the real drama.
Next up, we've got chronological relationships. Now with these, the order is absolutely everything. The themes unfold over time, telling a story with a clear beginning, a middle, and an end. It's a journey.
Think about it. A person doesn't usually experience all these things at once. The story often starts with that initial excitement, which then leads to burnout. And then, finally, through that struggle, they find resilience. That sequence turns a simple list of feelings into a really powerful narrative of transformation. Fourth, we have causal relationships. This one is pretty straightforward. It's good old cause and effect. Theme A happens, and it directly leads to or triggers Theme B.
Here, the connection is direct. The data might show people running up against these frustrating institutional barriers. Bureaucracy, red tape. And what's the direct effect of that? Well, it triggers a feeling of disengagement. One thing causes the next. Simple as that.
And finally, for the real drama, we have divergent themes. This is where your themes are in direct conflict with each other. They represent a push and a pull, a real struggle inside a person's experience that creates all the tension and depth in their story. So a person can absolutely hold both of these feelings at once. They might describe feeling deeply, profoundly isolated, while in the very next breath, they're talking about their desperate search to find community. That conflict, that tension between the two, that right there is often the core of their entire story.
So you see the point here, right? Looking for these kinds of interactions is what reveals the real dynamics at play. You're not just identifying individual puzzle pieces anymore. You're starting to see how they all snap together to create the whole picture.
Okay, so the stage is set, the actors are in place, but how do you step into your role as the director? What's the big takeaway? Well, let's get to the director's note.
And here it is, the most important rule of all. Don't force it. This isn't about making up a story that you want to be there. It's about listening. If the data itself suggests a connection, or a tension, or a timeline, your job is simply to follow that dialogue wherever it leads you.
Ultimately, this is the thing that elevates good analysis to truly great analysis. It's that shift in perspective. You stop being just an auditor of facts and you become a storyteller, uncovering that living, breathing narrative of human experience that's woven through all your data.
So remember, your data is already a script. It's filled with characters, plot, and conflict. The only question left is, are you ready to step into the director's chair and bring that story to life?